The massive circular chamber of the Galactic Council Station stretched upward, its transparent dome revealing the vast expanse of stars beyond. 17 distinct delegation areas arranged in concentric rings housed representatives from the most advanced civilizations in the known galaxy. The air hummed with translation devices, converting the clicks, whistles, and rumbles of alien languages into comprehensible speech for all present. Ambassador Jack Miller stood at the human delegation's podium, his tall frame straight and dignified in his Navy diplomatic uniform. 3 years of negotiations had brought humanity to this point. 3 years of careful scrutiny, technological isolation, and constant evaluation to determine if Earth deserved a place among the galactic community. The Council recognizes the representative from Earth, announced the central AI moderator, its holographic form flickering above the chamber's center. Jack cleared his throat. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I wish to address the concerns raised in yesterday's session regarding our proposed timeline for technological integration. We understand your hesitation, but Earth has complied with all monitoring protocols for the mandatory 3-year assessment period. Our request for a clear roadmap to full membership is both reasonable and in line with precedent. Samantha Wright, Jack's chief diplomatic aide, watched from their delegation's area with sharp eyes. Where Jack embodied diplomatic patience, Sam was his strategic counterbalance, quick, assertive, and never afraid to push back when needed. Her dark hair was pulled into a severe bun, and her fingers moved rapidly across her tablet, analyzing council members' reactions in real time. Ambassador Miller, responded Vexilor, the imposing, 6-limbed representative of the Araxian Dominion and current council chair. Your species' technological development rate continues to concern many members. The integration protocols were established for the safety of all civilizations. Humanity's advancement trajectory is unprecedented. Jack maintained his diplomatic smile despite having heard this argument dozens of times over the past 3 years. With respect, Chairperson, that is precisely why we seek clear benchmarks. If our development is a concern, we need objective metrics by which to measure our compliance, not subjective evaluations that shift with each session. The chamber filled with a chorus of murmurs and translation echoes. Jack glanced at Samantha, who gave him a subtle nod of approval. This weekly session marked their final scheduled appearance before the activation of what the Council called the full assessment protocol, but what Earth's leadership privately referred to as their deadline for a decision. As the debate continued, Jack's secure communication device vibrated against his wrist. A quick glance showed a priority message from Earth Command, marked with a designation he'd hoped never to see. Sundown Protocol. Immediate action required. Jack felt his chest tighten. 3 years of careful diplomacy. And now this. He caught Samantha's eye and subtly tapped his wrist device. Her expression remained neutral, but he saw her immediately begin typing commands into her tablet. If I may continue, Jack said, smoothly returning to his presentation, while Samantha discreetly brought up the message details on her screen. Our proposal includes a comprehensive oversight mechanism that would... Samantha slid her tablet toward him. The screen angled away from the Council's view. The full message glowed in stark, official text. Sundown Protocol authorized. All Earth personnel to withdraw from Council space within 12 hours. Complete technological independence declared. Coordinates for rendezvous attached. Acknowledge receipt immediately. Jack's diplomatic training was the only thing that kept his expression neutral. Sundown Protocol represented Earth's ultimate contingency plan, a complete withdrawal from the Galactic Council and all its associated territories and agreements. It would only be authorized if Earth's leadership had concluded that Council membership posed an existential threat to human technological sovereignty. Ambassador Miller, Vexilor prompted, when Jack paused too long. You were elaborating on your oversight proposal. Jack straightened his shoulders and made the hardest pivot of his diplomatic career. Esteemed Chairperson, respected council members, I must inform you that I have just received urgent directives from my government. He kept his voice steady, professional. Effective immediately. Earth is withdrawing its application for council membership and recalling all human personnel from council space. The chamber erupted. Translation devices struggled to keep up with a sudden outburst of voices. Vexilor's upper limbs rose in a gesture of authority, quieting the chaos. Ambassador, this is highly irregular, Vexilor said, voice amplified above the remaining murmurs. Such a decision requires formal procedures. There are protocols. With respect, Chairperson. Jack interrupted. Our withdrawal is not subject to council approval. As a non-member state, Earth retains sovereign authority over its diplomatic presence. Our delegation will depart within 8 hours. All human outposts and personnel within council space will withdraw within the 12-hour timeframe, stipulated by interstellar diplomatic convention. The council chamber descended into a different kind of silence, one thick with shock and calculation. Jack nodded respectfully to the assembly before stepping back from the podium. This session is temporarily suspended, Vexilor announced, his voice betraying rare discomposure. Council leadership will convene in Chamber Alpha immediately. As the various representatives filed out, buzzing with speculation, Jack and Samantha moved swiftly back to the human delegation's private quarters, the moment the doors sealed behind them. Samantha activated security protocols to prevent surveillance. 8 hours? She asked immediately. The protocol gives us 12. Jack loosened his collar, the weight of their situation settling fully on his shoulders. We need a buffer. 53 outposts, research stations, and diplomatic missions to evacuate, plus all the private citizens in council space. Every minute counts. Samantha nodded, already bringing up logistics displays on the room's main screen. I've sent the initial alert to all Earth facilities. Priority evacuation for the research stations first, then diplomatic outposts, then private citizens. What about our embedded personnel? Jack asked, referring to the human scientists and cultural observers stationed on non-Earth facilities. Already flagged for immediate extraction, Samantha confirmed. But Jack, there's something else. She hesitated, which was unlike her. The Sundown Protocol has additional directives attached. Earth Command has activated the Continuity Protocol as well. Jack's expression darkened. They're leaving people behind deliberately? Just a few volunteers only, with specialized capabilities. They'll maintain minimal communication channels after the official withdrawal. She brought up a small list of names. Dr. Karen Bell from the Technological Integration Team has volunteered to remain at Outpost Sigma, and Greg Peters from Intelligence. Peters, Jack muttered. Of course. The intelligence officer had been instrumental in monitoring council activities, often operating just within the boundaries of their technology sharing agreements. What's he supposed to accomplish by staying? His mission parameters are classified beyond our clearance, Samantha said, but the directive mentions something called neural network protocols. Before Jack could pursue that line of questioning, a priority communication alert flashed across their screen. Earth Command, direct link, Samantha announced, activating the secure channel. The stern face of Admiral Helena Chen appeared on screen. Ambassador, has the withdrawal announcement been made? Yes, Admiral. The Council has been informed. We've begun evacuation procedures for all 53 locations. Good. The Admiral nodded curtly. There have been developments that necessitated accelerating our timeline. Our research teams have confirmed that the Council's Technology Assessment Committee has been systematically collecting data to replicate and restrict our AI research, specifically, our neural network integration protocols. Jack and Samantha exchanged glances. The Neural Network Integration Project represented humanity's most significant technological breakthrough in decades. the beginning of a true symbiotic relationship between human and artificial intelligence. "Do they know about the quantum shift project?" Jack asked carefully. Admiral Chen's expression remained unreadable. "We don't believe so, which is precisely why we need to withdraw before they discover it. Commander Lisa Hayes has already positioned the prototype vessel at the rendezvous coordinates. She'll provide security for our withdrawal operation." Jack nodded, understanding the implications. The quantum shift represented a technological leap that the Council would certainly deem destabilizing. A ship utilizing principles that even the most advanced Council races had only theorized about. "Admiral," Samantha interjected, "what about our official position? The Council will demand explanations." "Earth's official statement is being transmitted to all major galactic information networks as we speak." Admiral Chen replied, "We are withdrawing our membership application and declaring our technological independence. We cite the Council's failure to provide clear integration benchmarks and their systematic obstruction of human advancement as our justification." The communication ended shortly after, leaving Jack and Samantha to coordinate the massive logistical challenge ahead. As Samantha began organizing evacuation priorities, Jack turned his attention to the diplomatic fallout. "We need to prepare for the Council's response," he said, pacing the room. "They won't just accept this without pushback." Samantha looked up from her work. "You think they might try to prevent our withdrawal?" "It's a possibility we have to consider. The Council has military capabilities far beyond our own, at least in conventional terms. But not enough ships to cover 53 evacuation points simultaneously," Samantha pointed out. "And they'd have to get approval from the full Council for any military action, which would take time." Jack nodded, some tension leaving his shoulders. "You're right. Their bureaucracy is our advantage right now. Still, I want hourly status reports from all evacuation sites. Anything that looks like interference gets priority attention." As they worked, the human delegation's communication system registered an incoming request from the Council chamber. "Delegate Craig from the Military Affairs Committee is requesting an immediate meeting," the system announced. Jack sighed. Craig, a reptilian representative known for his aggressive stance toward emerging civilizations, had been one of humanity's most vocal critics. "Declined. Inform him that we're occupied with withdrawal logistics and will address any concerns through official channels." Samantha raised an eyebrow. "That won't make him happy." "Diplomacy isn't about making everyone happy," Jack replied with a grim smile. "It's about buying time when you need it." Within the first hour, reports began flooding in from human outposts throughout Council space. Most evacuations were proceeding smoothly, with Earth vessels arriving on schedule to transport personnel and essential equipment. A few locations reported subtle interference, customs delays, requests for additional documentation, sudden safety inspections, but nothing that significantly impeded the withdrawal. 4 hours into the operation, Jack received word that the Council had convened an emergency session. Through their remaining sources, they learned that 3 distinct factions had emerged among the Council members. Craig led the military faction, advocating for a show of force to persuade humanity to reconsider its hasty departure. His supporters argued that Earth's technological trajectory posed a potential security threat that justified preventive measures. Ithkal, a longtime diplomatic moderate, headed a faction favoring negotiation. They proposed offering humanity the clear benchmarks they had been requesting, suggesting that Earth's withdrawal was merely a negotiating tactic. The third faction, led by the isolationist Valeri Confederacy, proposed allowing humanity to leave but permanently closing Council borders to Earth and its colonies. "Let them develop their technologies in isolation," Valeri's representative argued. "When they inevitably create problems, they will be their own problems." "Divide and delay," Samantha commented when Jack shared this information. "Works in our favor." "For now," Jack agreed. "But Craig's faction is gaining support. We need to accelerate where possible. A priority alert from Earth Command interrupted their discussion. A small Council scout fleet had been detected approaching the research station in the Tau Ceti system, one of Earth's most remote outposts. The evacuation ship is still 2 hours out, Samantha reported, checking the logistics schedule. Jack made a quick decision. Divert the nearest available vessel to Tau Ceti, even if it's already carrying evacuees. We can't leave anyone behind. As the 6th hour approached, Greg Peters, the intelligence officer who had volunteered to remain behind, requested a secure meeting. Jack arranged for him to access their quarters through a service corridor to avoid notice. Peters arrived looking as calm and collected as ever, his nondescript appearance belying his sharp mind. "Ambassador, Ms. Wright," he greeted them. "I wanted to brief you on my objectives before you depart." "I was told your mission was classified beyond our clearance," Jack said, studying the intelligence officer carefully. Peters smiled slightly. "Some aspects remain classified, but you should know the essentials. I'll be maintaining a data collection network focused on the Council's response to our withdrawal. More importantly, I'll be leaving behind carefully prepared information packages." "Information about what?" Samantha asked suspiciously. "About our neural network integration project," Peters said simply. "Enough information to make them believe they understand it, but with critical omissions that would make any attempt to replicate it problematic." Jack frowned. "You're leaving technological breadcrumbs? That violates Council regulations on technology sharing. Regulations that no longer apply to us," Peters pointed out. "Besides, the information packages are designed to be discovered, not openly shared. The Council's intelligence services will think they've successfully stolen our secrets." "It's misinformation," Samantha realized. "You're feeding them flawed data." Peters nodded. "Not entirely flawed, just incomplete in ways that will become apparent only after significant investment of resources. It should keep them distracted while Earth completes its technological transition." "This is a dangerous game," Jack warned. "If they realize what you've done—" "I'm aware of the risks, Ambassador," Peters interrupted smoothly. "But Command believes the strategic advantage outweighs the personal danger." After Peters departed, Jack and Samantha received another update. Earth's formal withdrawal notice had been officially submitted to the Council archives, making their departure legally binding under interstellar diplomatic protocols. Accompanying the notice was a unilateral declaration of technological independence, asserting Earth's right to pursue its own development path without external oversight. The declaration sent shockwaves through the galactic diplomatic community. Several non-Council races sent discreet messages expressing interest in establishing direct relations with Earth outside the Council framework. Others publicly distanced themselves, unwilling to risk the Council's displeasure. As the evacuation reached its final stages, Council Chair Vexilor requested a private meeting with Jack. After consulting with Earth Command, Jack agreed to a brief 10-minute discussion in a neutral area of the station. Vexilor arrived without his usual ceremonial attire, a sign that this was an unofficial conversation. "Ambassador Miller," he began, his translator rendering his complex vocalizations into measured English. "I must express my personal regret at this outcome." "The regret is mutual, Chairperson," Jack replied diplomatically. "Earth had hoped for a productive relationship with the Council." "Then why this precipitous withdrawal?" Vexilor's upper limbs moved in a gesture that Jack had learned indicated genuine confusion. "If clear benchmarks were all you required, surely we could have reached an accommodation." Jack chose his words carefully. 3 years of negotiations suggested otherwise. The Council's technology assessment protocols consistently moved targets whenever Earth approached compliance. "We came to believe that actual integration was not the Council's true objective." "You believe we deliberately obstructed your membership?" Vexilor sounded surprised, perhaps even offended. "We believe," Jack said evenly, that certain influential members of the Council view Earth's developmental trajectory as inherently destabilizing, rather than establishing objective criteria. They preferred to keep us in perpetual evaluation. Vexilor was silent for a moment. I cannot deny that some harbor such concerns. Your species develops technologies at an alarming rate, often without fully exploring consequences. The neural integration systems you've begun implementing, for instance. Such technology requires centuries of ethical refinement before widespread adoption. According to Council standards, Jack countered, Earth has its own ethical frameworks and safeguards. We simply reached different conclusions about appropriate development timelines. And now, you will pursue these technologies without any external oversight, Vexilor said, his tone shifting toward concern. I must warn you, Ambassador, actions have consequences in galactic society. Earth's isolation may not proceed as comfortably as you imagine. Jack recognized the subtle threat beneath the diplomatic language. Earth doesn't seek isolation, Chairperson. We remain open to bilateral relationships and trade. We simply withdraw from a multilateral framework that we found restrictive. The brief meeting ended with formal pleasantries that did little to mask the tension. As Jack returned to the human quarters, a final evacuation status report awaited. All but 3 outposts had completed their withdrawals ahead of schedule. The remaining 3, including the crucial research facility at Proxima Centauri, would complete evacuation within the next hour, well before the deadline. We've done it, Samantha said with quiet pride as they boarded their own evacuation vessel. 53 facilities, over 15,000 personnel, all withdrawn without a single casualty. Jack nodded, watching through the viewport as the massive Council station receded. This isn't an ending, Sam. It's just the beginning of something we don't fully understand yet. The human evacuation fleet converged at the designated rendezvous point, just beyond the recognized boundary of Council space. As ships arrived, they reported to the command vessel, an unremarkable-looking diplomatic cruiser that concealed advanced communication systems and defensive capabilities. 8 hours after Jack's announcement in the Council chamber, Admiral Chen confirmed that all evacuation operations had been successfully completed. All human personnel, except for the few volunteers like Greg Peters and Dr. Karen Bell, had been extracted from Council territory. Ambassador Miller. The Admiral addressed Jack via secure communication. I'm transferring operational command to Commander Hayes. The quantum shift will escort our fleet back to Earth-controlled space. Jack had heard of Lisa Hayes, but had never met her in person. A brilliant tactician with an unconventional approach to space operations. She had been handpicked to command humanity's most advanced vessel. When the quantum shift appeared at the rendezvous coordinates, Jack understood why the project had been kept so secret. The ship defied conventional design principles, its hull seemingly fluid, shifting between solid and translucent states. It moved with an eerie grace, as if gliding through dimensions adjacent to normal space, rather than through space itself. Quantum shift to evacuation fleet, came Commander Hayes' confident voice over the communication channel. Form up in Protection Formation Alpha. We'll be escorting you home. Before the fleet could complete its formation, sensors detected multiple vessels approaching at high speed from Council space. Council scout ships, reported Samantha, analyzing the data. Military configuration. They're pushing their jurisdictional boundaries, Jack observed. A show of force, but not yet an act of aggression. The lead Council vessel transmitted a broad-spectrum message. Earth vessels. This is Captain Dravik of the Council Security Force. You are requested to halt for a standard security verification before proceeding. Commander Hayes responded before Jack could formulate a diplomatic reply. Council vessel. This is Commander Lisa Hayes of Earth Force. We are outside Council jurisdiction and operating under independent authority. Your verification protocols no longer apply to Earth vessels. Earth remains under technological supervision protocols until formally released by the Council, Dravik countered. Your vessel, in particular, appears to utilize restricted technologies. The standoff stretched for several tense minutes. Jack contacted Commander Hayes on a private channel. Commander, we should avoid any action that could be interpreted as hostile. The evacuation has gone smoothly so far. Understood, Ambassador, Hayes replied, her tone respectful but firm. However, I have direct orders to prevent any technological inspection of the quantum shift. We won't fire first, but we will protect our intellectual property. Jack understood the stakes. If the Council gained detailed scans of the quantum shift systems, they might be able to develop countermeasures or, worse, restrictions that could hamper Earth's technological independence. Council vessel, Hayes broadcast. To demonstrate our peaceful intentions, I am transmitting visual confirmation that our fleet carries no weapons targeting your ships. A holographic projection expanded from the quantum shift, showing the status of all Earth vessels in the formation. The projection unexpectedly expanded. However, shifting into something far more complex, a visual representation of future possibilities. It showed human neural networks interfacing with artificial intelligence systems, creating hybrid consciousness that transcended both. It displayed cities where humans and AI existed in symbiotic relationships, technology that responded to thought, and expansion into realms of existence beyond conventional space-time. This is the path humanity has chosen, Hayes continued, her voice carrying a certainty that resonated across the communication channels. Not dominance, not conflict, but evolution. We withdraw not to isolate ourselves, but to pursue our development without artificial constraints. The visual display concluded with an image of Earth vessels returning to Council space in the future. Vessels piloted by hybrid human-AI consciousnesses, offering partnership rather than seeking admission. The Council ships maintained their position for several long moments after the transmission ended. Then, without further communication, they turned and departed back toward Council space. That was a risk, Commander, Jack said privately to Hayes, after the Council ships had gone. That demonstration revealed more about our neural integration research than we might have wanted. It revealed exactly what we wanted them to see. Ambassador, Hayes replied with a hint of satisfaction. A glimpse of what's coming, enough to make them reconsider whether attempting to restrict us is worth the effort. As the Earth fleet began its journey home, reports arrived from monitoring stations near the Council borders. The Military Affairs Committee, led by Craig, had dispatched a fleet of 20 warships to establish a security perimeter along the boundary with Earth-controlled space. Officially described as a routine deployment, the timing made its true purpose clear. Earth's leadership convened an emergency session to assess the developing situation. Jack and Samantha participated remotely from the command vessel, providing their first-hand account of the Council's internal divisions. We should expect continued pressure, Jack advised the assembled officials. The Council won't easily accept our technological independence, especially once they realize the potential of our neural integration systems, which is precisely why we need to accelerate the quantum integration program. Admiral Chen responded. Commander Hayes has demonstrated that our current technology already gives us strategic flexibility. Full implementation will secure our position permanently. The discussion continued for hours, with various officials debating the appropriate balance between technological development and diplomatic re-engagement. Eventually, a consensus emerged. Earth would continue its withdrawal from Council oversight while maintaining open channels for potential future negotiations, but only on terms that recognized humanity's sovereign right to technological self-determination. 1 month after the evacuation, Dr. Karen Bell, one of the volunteers who had remained in Council space, made contact through a secure channel. Her message was brief, but significant. The Council's Science Directorate has attempted to replicate our neural integration protocols using the information packages left behind, she reported. As expected, their implementations are failing at the quantum coherence stage. Several member races are now questioning the Council's technological evaluation standards, noting that humanity appears to have surpassed Council capabilities in certain domains despite our primitive classification. Greg Peters added his own intelligence assessment a week later. The Council is fragmented on how to proceed. Craig's military faction advocates for containment, arguing that human technology represents a destabilizing influence. Ithkal's diplomatic bloc proposes reopening communication channels. Most interesting is the emergence of a new faction, led by the Alturian Collective, suggesting that the Council should study human innovation methods, rather than restricting them. 3 months after withdrawal, Earth unveiled the first public implementation of its neural integration system, a global network that allowed humans to interface directly with artificial intelligence through neural implants. Unlike the Council's segregated approach to AI, Earth's system embraced a symbiotic relationship, creating a new kind of shared consciousness that amplified human creativity while providing AI with ethical frameworks derived from human experience. The Council's response was predictable: formal condemnation of reckless technological deployment without sufficient safety protocols. Several border incidents occurred as Council vessels attempted to scan Earth outposts for more detailed information about the neural network systems. 6 months into Earth's technological independence, Dr. Karen Bell made her final transmission before returning to Earth space. The Council's Science Directorate has officially admitted failure in replicating our neural integration technology. More significantly, 3 member races have privately expressed interest in direct technological exchange with Earth outside Council frameworks. As the 1-year anniversary of Earth's withdrawal approached, the Quantum Shift project reached its final implementation stage. Commander Lisa Hayes oversaw the deployment of the first fleet of vessels utilizing the full space-time displacement technology, ships capable of traveling vast distances without conventional propulsion, appearing to shift between points in space-time rather than traversing the distance between them. Jack Miller, now serving as Earth's Strategic Relations Director, received a priority alert one morning that brought everything full circle. Quantum Shift signature detected at the Central Council Station, the report stated. Commander Hayes' vessel appeared inside their security perimeter without warning. No weapons deployed, but Council defense systems were completely bypassed. Within hours, galactic information networks were buzzing with the news. Commander Hayes had piloted her unarmed vessel directly to the Council's headquarters, materializing inside their supposedly impenetrable defense grid. Rather than taking hostile action, she had requested a formal audience with the full Council. The Council had no choice but to grant her request, Samantha told Jack as they monitored the situation. She demonstrated that their entire defense strategy is obsolete against our technology. They're practically in shock. When Commander Hayes addressed the Council, her message was broadcast throughout galactic networks. She stood confidently before the same podium where Jack had announced Earth's withdrawal a year earlier. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice clear and measured. I appear before you not as a supplicant seeking admission, but as a representative of Earth, offering a new beginning. 1 year ago, we withdrew from Council oversight to pursue our own technological path. Today, we return to propose a technology and cultural exchange program based on mutual respect and equal standing. The Council chamber remained silent as Hayes continued. Earth has developed capabilities that the Council once feared: neural integration systems, space-time displacement technology, and quantum consciousness frameworks. We have done so responsibly, with ethical safeguards and cultural integration at every step. We now extend an invitation to any Council member who wishes to participate in bilateral exchange programs outside the traditional Council oversight structure. Craig immediately objected, citing Council protocols that prohibited unauthorized technology sharing. Hayes responded with calm precision. Earth is not subject to those protocols, having withdrawn from Council jurisdiction. Any council member is free to establish independent relations with Earth while maintaining their council membership. The debate that followed revealed the deep divisions that Earth's withdrawal had created within the council. Some members openly supported Hayes's proposal, while others backed Craig's call for sanctions against any who engaged with Earth directly. The isolationists, led by Valari, proposed a compromise, limited engagement under strict monitoring. In the midst of the debate, Chair Vexilor called for a recess, an unprecedented action during such a critical session. When the council reconvened hours later, Vexilor addressed Hayes directly. "Commander, your appearance here today demonstrates capabilities that exceed our current understanding. This creates both concern and curiosity. The Council requires time to consider the implications of your proposal." Hayes nodded respectfully. "Earth understands the need for careful consideration. We will establish a diplomatic outpost at the edge of Council space to facilitate communication with interested parties. We ask only that you respect our technological sovereignty, as we have respected your territorial boundaries." As Hayes prepared to depart, Vexilor posed one final question. "The visual demonstration you provided during your encounter with our security vessels 1 year ago, was that a prediction or a promise?" Hayes smiled slightly. "It was a possibility, Chairperson, one of many. The future remains unwritten, shaped by the choices we all make now." After Hayes's vessel disappeared from the Council station as mysteriously as it had arrived, the Council descended into the most prolonged debate in its recent history. For weeks, the various factions argued about how to respond to Earth's demonstration of technological superiority and its offer of bilateral relationships. Eventually, a tentative consensus emerged. The Council would not formally endorse Earth's exchange program, but neither would it prevent individual member races from establishing their own relationships with humanity. It was an unprecedented compromise for an institution known for its inflexible protocols. Jack received the news with measured optimism. "It's not full recognition of our position," he told Samantha as they reviewed the Council statement. "But it's an acknowledgement of reality. They can't contain us anymore." Samantha nodded thoughtfully. "They're adapting because they have no choice. But adaptation can lead to evolution, for them as much as for us." One by one, various council races began sending representatives to Earth's new diplomatic outpost. Some came openly, others more discreetly. Each sought to understand the path humanity had taken and to evaluate whether partnership with Earth offered advantages that council membership alone could not provide. Greg Peters, having successfully completed his intelligence mission and returned to Earth, provided a final assessment that captured the transformed relationship perfectly. "The Council feared our potential, so they tried to restrict it. When restriction failed, they opposed it. Now that opposition has proven futile, they begin to consider the one option they never seriously entertained before: genuine collaboration." Dr. Karen Bell, whose scientific insights had been crucial to the Neural Integration Project, put it more succinctly in her address to Earth's scientific community. "The Council built walls to contain advancement. We simply stepped around them. Now, perhaps, we can help them dismantle those walls together." As Earth prepared to receive the first official delegation under the new exchange program, Jack reflected on the journey that had begun with a simple diplomatic withdrawal and culminated in a fundamental shift in galactic power dynamics. "We didn't set out to challenge the Council's authority," he remarked to Commander Hayes during a strategy session. "We just wanted the freedom to develop according to our own values. Sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply refusing to be limited by others' fears." Hayes replied, "The Council feared what we might become, so they tried to prevent it. In doing so, they accelerated exactly the outcome they sought to avoid." The quantum shift vessels now regularly traverse the space between Earth and the former Council boundaries. Their fluid-like hulls, a visual reminder of humanity's new relationship with conventional limitations. The neural integration network had expanded throughout Earth's colonies, creating a new kind of society where human and artificial intelligence cooperated in ways the Council had long deemed dangerous. Yet the catastrophes the Council had predicted, uncontrolled AI rebellion, technological destabilization, cultural disintegration, had not materialized. Instead, Earth prospered, developing new art forms, scientific insights, and philosophical frameworks that merged human creativity with computational precision. 1 year, and 1 day after Earth's withdrawal from Council oversight, Jack Miller stood on the observation deck of Earth's new diplomatic station, watching as vessels from 7 different Council races approached. They came not as supervisors or evaluators, but as partners seeking mutual exchange. Samantha joined him at the viewport, her expression thoughtful. "Do you think they understand yet? What really happened? I mean..." Jack considered the question carefully. Some do. The more insightful ones realize that the Council's restrictive approach was ultimately self-defeating. Innovation doesn't stop because you forbid it. It just finds another path. And sometimes, Samantha added, that other path leads to possibilities no one could have predicted. Through the viewport, they could see Commander Hayes's vessel preparing to greet the arriving delegations. Its shifting, almost liquid hull reflected the stars in patterns that seemed to hint at dimensions beyond conventional perception, a fitting symbol for humanity's new relationship with possibility itself. "The Council feared change," Jack said quietly. "So they tried to prevent it. We embraced change." "And became it," Samantha finished. As the first delegation docked with the station, Jack prepared to welcome them not as representatives of a superior authority, but as equals in a new galactic conversation, one based not on fear of potential, but on recognition of it. The talks that had ended so abruptly 1 year before now began anew, with different assumptions, different power dynamics, and different possibilities. The Council had feared what humanity might become. Now, they would discover what partnership with that humanity might achieve. And somewhere, in the vast depths of space, at the bleeding edge of human exploration, the next generation of quantum shift vessels were already taking form, their designs incorporating insights from both human creativity and artificial precision, their capabilities reaching toward horizons that neither the Council nor humanity had yet imagined. The journey that had begun with withdrawal now continued with engagement, not on the Council's terms, but on humanity's. Not through submission to limitation, but through transcendence of it. Not in fear of potential, but in celebration of it. For Jack Miller, Samantha Wright, Lisa Hayes, and all of humanity, the true exploration was just beginning.